Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name's Pierce with O Shoot Outdoors, and today I'm doing something a little bit different because I really like to fish and I want to help people learn how to fish. Depending on if you're new to fishing or if you're struggling and you want to catch more bass, I got you, bro. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So right now, the time of year, it is June 2025, and the bass, what they're doing right now is what they have been doing. They just got out of spawn. They were spawning late March, April, May. That's your spring transition, your pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn. All that right there. Coming into May, into the May, June, they're kind of transitioning. They're no longer in their spawning mode. Now, in the mornings, they're up shallow guarding fry and eating bluegill and things. And they're doing that. And then in the afternoon, they're going out and they're feeding out deep, or they're getting in cooler water because it's starting to heat up, right? It's summertime. Just like people, we want to stay indoors where it's cool. The bass want to stay out deep when it's cool. Now, you will find a lot of bass up shallow, but you're going to find a lot more bass out deep. So I've got a selection of lures here I'm going to show y'all. Depending on your circumstance and situations, okay? If you've got clear water, murky water, pressured lakes, non-pressured lakes, things to throw that will enhance your fishing, get you bites, and help you this summer. So what I'm going to go ahead and get into, I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite way. Well, maybe not their favorite way, but one of the most fun ways to catch fish in the summertime. That's going to be topwater. Topwater can be an excellent way to catch bass in the summertime, but you got to take into a couple things into account. You want to think about, what are the bass eating right now? So a lot of times in the summer, your shad are going to start spawning, your bluegill are going to start spawning, but you got to know what they're going to be going after. So if the shad are spawning, I like throwing something like a popper or a popper or a plopping style bait like this here. This here's a whopper plopper, or the Guggen revolver, but it's a whopper plopper. And I like throwing that. But another thing with that, I like throwing these in the early morning and late in the evening, because during the day it's so hot, the bass are they're tired. They've been eating all morning. The middle of the day, it gets hot. They just want to sit there and chill, bro. Leave them on the couch, leave them alone, So that's something you got to take into account. So you want to throw this in the early morning, but because it's a constant moving bait and it's got this plopper, I don't like to throw this if there's pressure on your lake. So what I mean by that is, if other people have been fishing a lot, if other people have been catching a lot of bass lately, the bass tend to slow down their bite because they've been pressured. And they get a little smarter. They kind of have a little bit more of awareness, rather than bass that have been on a lake that doesn't get fished very much and stuff like that. So this type of lure can be a good way to catch bass, but it can get you bites, but it's not 100% fail proof. But what I'm saying with that is, same thing with a buzzbait. I fish buzzbaits too. Buzzbaits are awesome ways to catch bass in the summertime. They've got this blade that spins and it stays on top of the water. Awesome way to catch fish. But what you got to take into account is, it's also a constant moving bait. Bass aren't always going to want a constant moving bait, so you got to have other stuff like spooks or poppers that you can walk but stop. And another one that is a fish catching machine in the summer is a frog. This here is the Guggen Filthy Frog. I love frogs because they make them in all kinds of colors now, guys. Everybody knows that. They make them in bluegill colors, shad colors. This is like a bullfrog looking color. Because, bass, they eat everything that looks like that, okay? And you throw a little finesse presentation like this that's just subtle on top of the water, you're going to get bites. I promise you. If you throw them in the early morning and late in the evening. Now, we got that done. First thing when you get to the lake, you throw your top water, go nuts. What do you do when the bite slows down, Pierce? Well, what I like to do is a lot of times those bass will slow down. You can't always find them. So what I like to do after that is throw kind of a finding lure. And what I mean by that is I like something that'll get a reaction strike that you can throw that's not just super, super fast, but not super slow. And I find the bass with a spinner bait or a jerk bait of some sort. I like jerk baits and spinner baits. They're a lot slower. You can pause them. You can twitch them. You can just reel them along. You can just jerk them. It doesn't matter. Bass will hit those baits, and obviously you got to match the hatch here. You don't want to throw a bluegill spinner bait if they're hitting shad, and you don't want to throw shad if they're hitting bluegill. And stuff like that, you got to keep into account. And you got to watch your colors. Like if it's really cloudy, you don't want to throw something white because it's going to look just like the white above. You want to throw something like black or brown, maybe even like a dark green because it'll stand out. And after you find the bass with those lures, more good lures you can use. Keep in mind, right about now, topwater bite slowing down. We're trying to find them. We found them. So now you can get in there with your finesse presentations. I don't have any out right now, but you can get in there with a drop shot, a Ned rig if you find them. And they're probably going to be schooling throughout the day, eating shad in that deeper water offshore, like a lot of bass often do. So once you find those bass with those, you can key in on them with the worms and the finesse and like a big slim shake worm. What I mean by that's like a big shaky head and then like a big lizard, big ribbon tail worm on a Texas rig. They'll eat that. You can do it perfect. You can hop it off the bottom. You can keep it suspended. Doesn't matter. A lot of times bass will just crush it. Now, getting into that, later in the day, they're going to go way out deep. And by way out deep, I mean sometimes they'll get into 20 foot, 30 foot of water. How do I catch them then, Pierce? Well, I always like to go with a deep diving crankbait in the summertime. Keep in mind, this is all lake fishing. Pond fishing, you can fish a little bit of the same thing, but if there's a lot of grass, might have to take that into account. But I like to fish a deep diving crankbait, and if they're hitting shad, you can throw a shad color. Crawfish and bluegill, you can throw this color right here, and there's all kinds of colors, guys. And my main baits that I like to use are Guggen Squad. You don't have to use specific kind or anything. I mean, bass will pretty much eat everything, but I've always loved Guggen Squad, and I mean, these baits are solid. They're good, but I like throwing these, and you can throw these crankbaits, and you can run them on. You can bump them on the bottom, or you can keep them just kind of steady retrieve. You can reel them as fast as you can. Doesn't matter. And a lot of times when you're fishing, the bass will actually tell you what they want to see. They'll tell you what they want. And by that, I mean, like, they'll bite it some ways, then other ways they won't bite it at all. Bass are a lot like that. And getting into that, so you can also find them with a deep diving crankbait. And sometimes the bite will be so great, some days I'll just throw a deep diving crankbait. I mean, they just go nuts when you do that. And I love having a deep diving crankbait tied on. And then another great way to catch fish, I love fishing a wacky rig Senko. I mean, this thing, you just cast it out there and it sits like this and just wobbles on down. Those bass destroy it. I mean, you can fish it around grass. You can fish it out in open water, around docks. I mean, you can fish it around dams, rocks. You can fish it in a tree. It don't matter, bro. These bass, they love a good old wacky rig Senko. Now, the main thing I'm going to tell you with this, match the hatch. You don't want to throw a white if they're hitting green pumpkin, which is like a green color if y'all don't know that. But match the hatch, and the number one thing that it's taken me forever to learn, if you're fishing in a boat, sit down, okay? You will fish this thing too fast if you are standing up. Now, that being said, Pierce, what if I'm fishing from a pond bank and I'm throwing a wacky rig Senko and I can't sit down? You don't have to sit down. I'm just saying that because I fish it fast. I like to slow down and catch me a big old bass. So the main thing with the Senkos, they bite this on the initial fall. So what I mean by that, when you first cast it out, don't do anything. Some people open their spool, let it sink straight down. You can do whatever you want. But don't do anything till this has hit the bottom. Because 90, almost, oh, I say 90. Almost like 50% of your bites come from the initial fall. That's why the wacky rig is such a awesome lure. I say wacky rig. I always call Senko a wacky rig because that's how I fish it. You can fish it a weightless Texas rig. You can fish it on a weight Texas rig. It doesn't really matter, but that little subtle fall right there, that'll get you bites. If they're really pressured, this is an awesome finesse lure. You can just throw it, and you don't even have to move it. I mean, you just cast it out there, let it sink, then just pull your rod up, and then let it sink. And I mean, those bass, they just can't stand it, guys. I mean, it's an awesome way to catch fish. Another way to catch fish, I always like to have some kind of swim bait. I know a lot of people hate on the swim baits. Let me tell you, son, they're fish catching machines. Everybody knows that. They just look like an actual fish in the water. A lot of these lures, they kind of look unnatural, and that kind of triggers a bass bite, but nothing's better than like an actual fish, okay? I love fishing like I think this is like the Contender or something. And I mean, if they're garden fry, I'll throw this little bass looking one, and I mean, they'll nail it. They'll think, oh, it's going to eat the baby bass. We're going to nail it. Or if they're bluegill spawning, they'll nail this. And then I got one that looks like a shad in my box somewhere. And if the shad are spawning, man, they destroy it. They can't stand it. They love swim baits. You can fish the slow sinking one. You can fish a fast sinking one. It doesn't matter. Just keep in mind them things are pretty expensive. So try not to get them hung up. So last thing I want to talk about in summertime, or June, late May going into June, I really, really, really love flipping some kind of creature bait. I love flipping a creature bait. This is the bandito bug. I'm pretty sure this is June bug, or it might be Canada craw. But I mean, you throw this thing in there, and they're like, what the heck is that? And they just eat it, you know? I mean, it is a solid lure. It's caught me a lot of fish. I cannot say it enough. Soft plastics. I can fish all these hard baits and spinner baits and stuff I want, but the soft plastics are just the best way to catch fish because they have the most wiggle, okay? What I mean by that, it's like these little appendages. See, they're just wiggling with me holding them. I mean, that just looks like a little crawdad. And see the little antennas and the legs? I mean, that is a perfect representation of some kind of crawdad or something. Then last but not least, I love to fish a jig, okay? 2 years ago, you could ask me, I'd be like, I'll never fish a jig. Jigs are just rip off spinnerbaits without blades or chatterbaits without a head, okay? Listen to me, boy. Jigs are your money makers. These are the flipping jigs from Guggen. I love flipping them. You can bump them on the bottom. You can just reel them like a spinnerbait. It don't matter. I got a green pumpkin one with I think this is a rage tail trailer. I love fishing it in clear water because they see that green and it looks like a bluegill or something. I don't know. But they just can't stand it. I mean, big bass eat jigs, okay? I caught the biggest bass of the year so far on a jig. I know in the short, it's a short I have posted. I said a Texas rig Senko, but I caught it on a jig, okay? I don't know why I said Senko, but that is just a saucy lure in the water, and it's got these little beaver tails. I mean, a solid lure. This I fish in clear water. This here's a black and blue flipping jig, and I've got it paired up with I don't know what kind of trailer this is. I bought these. There's 2 packs of them. There's some watermelon red ones, and then these. I bought them at Walmart, and they're super cheap, but they're good soft plastics. I'd never seen them before, and I mean, that looks solid on there, guys. And I mean, these jigs, can't say it enough. They are fish catching machines. I mean, like 6 months ago, if you told me I'd fish a jig and say nothing but good about it, I'd been like, get out of here, bro. I don't need no jig. Dude, telling you, jigs changed my fishing, bro. One trip, we went fishing in a pond. I was throwing a swim jig. I literally caught 20 bass, okay? My dad has never hardly fished jigs in his life. I got him fishing jigs, okay? I watched this one video and they said, this is the jigs mistakes you're making, okay? And I was like, you know what? Might as well try it. Fixed it, boom, caught him, tore him up. Jigs are one of my all-time favorites. Now, I know I said last but not least like 3 times. Just hold on a minute, broski. All right. Another good lure you can throw. I don't have it loose because it's tied on right now because they're solid. This is what the Guggen squad calls the shad chandelier. It's actually a Strike King, but they call it a shad chandelier because it's got these little swim baits on it. This is an A-rig or Alabama rig, also called umbrella rig. And I mean, it is a solid fish catcher. I mean, if them shad are schooling and those fish are keyed in on those shad, they will tear up the A-rig. I mean, they will go nuts, and it's ridiculous. They'll go nuts over that A-rig, and they will tear it up time and time again. Now, I'm going to show y'all another lure. Yeah, this is the drop shot. I was talking about it earlier, saying I didn't have any tied on. Well, here's my weight right here. I've got a Guggen drag and drop, or maybe it's Slim Shake Worm. I can't remember. But I've got it Texas rigged on here on a drop shot. And I mean, this rig tears them up. I mean, can't say it enough. I love all of Guggen baits, but the drag and drop is just a awesome way to catch fish. I'm new to the drop shot as well. I've never fished a drop shot, hardly much at all. Never fished a Ned rig much at all. And never fished jigs much at all. But I'm telling you, I'm new to them. I can't say nothing but good about them. I mean, people are like, yeah, those lures are the skunk busters. If you can't catch a fish, throw those. No joke, dude. You will catch fish. I don't have a bad thing to say about them. They are an awesome way to catch fish. All 3 of them. I really like those. Then another really good lure that I like is a big Texas rigged worm. I'll show y'all why I have it rigged out here. This is the 12-inch ridge worm from 6 Cents in the black and blue with the plum tail. I really like it. It's got a tungsten weight on here. Not sure how much. I think it's like a 1/4 ounce. But, I mean, solid fish catching machine. If those bass are on the bottom and they've been wanting a big meal, they've been spawning, they haven't eaten a thing during spawn, you can throw a big worm in there, they will slurp it up, okay? So, if y'all can take anything away from this video, I hope that you take away some baits you can use. I know these are all my personal favorites, so you may fish these at your lake and you may not have a ton of luck, but these are my personal favorites. I live here in Central Texas. These are awesome baits to use. I will tell you, there are tons and tons and tons of awesome YouTubers out there that also give quality fishing advice and tutorials and stuff like that. Huge shout out. I'm going to go ahead and give some shout outs here. I love Bass Fishing HQ. I love Tyler's Real Fishing. He's an awesome one. I like Bass Mafia. I really love the Guggen Lab. Guggen Lab's a good one. They make little short videos and they teach you all about how to fish stuff. It's pretty circumstantial or situational. I did that again. And other good ones are like, I really like Logan Anderson. He's a good guy that you can watch for fishing tips. Lake Fork guy, he's an awesome one. Just stuff like that. And I mean, you can look up fishing tips for a frog, and I mean, 700 videos have come up in a matter of seconds, you know. So just because I gave a little bit of information here, I'm not flawless. I'm not a pro. Okay, I'm just a high school bass fisherman that I know what I'm doing, and I want to help kids out there or adults that are new to fishing. I want y'all to catch them just like I do. So I hope y'all have the best of luck fishing. Come back and catch us next week for next week's tutorial. Peace.